Welcome to When Creativity Knocks All-Star Designer Summer Series. And Cindy has come up with a great pendant to show us today.
We're going to escape to the ocean.
Cindy, this is a really fun necklace that you've come up with. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
It all started with this little message in a bottle idea.
Oh, yes.
And I was thinking tropical escape, so I had these wonderful little glass bottles, which were actually a scrapbooking embellishment that I had, but they are glass, so I said, well, I'm going to etch them. And I wanted to use my etch-all.
Okay.
But it would be a little tricky to use a stencil letter or something on a bottle of this size. Luckily, etch-all has a designer tip kit.
Oh,
and
cool.
I use this designer tip kit all the time. Even if I'm putting it onto tiny little stencils, I'll use this tip kit to get it in those areas. And you just fill the bottle with your etch-all cream, and then there are a few different tips you can choose from. This is obviously the very, very fine one. And then let's get it flowing. There it comes, okay. And I just freehanded it. Let's see if I can do it backwards for you. And I spelled out the word escape.
Yeah, very
not
nice
bad
writing.
For backwards, huh?
That's not bad at all. Wow.
So you can get a lot of control with the etch-all cream in this designer tip kit. And I spelled it, let it sit, it's 15 minutes, and then I did not return it to the bottle this time because it's such a small amount. I did just wash it off. Sorry, Barb. But and what you're left with, it's a very subtle effect, and I'm hoping it's going to show up on camera, but it's a frosted little word escape on that bottle.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very subtle effect, but I thought I'd add a little bit of fun to it. I did roll up a little piece of paper, and I put a little inside of it. I wrote one of our favorite tropical destinations inside that I'd like to escape to. You could use one that you've already escaped to, and rolled it up and tucked it inside from my message in the bottle and put my cork in. I did wrap a little piece of wire around it, and I made a loop so that I had it to hang on my chain afterwards. So that is our little escape message in a bottle, and next we'll show you how to make the other two pieces.
Great. Our next step is?
We're going to make our sea turtle, which is sort of what I'm calling our focal bead. And to do that, I'm using white Macon's clay. Okay. And I only cut off the amount that I was going to need, because rather than waste it, and then I'm going to pop this in a Ziploc baggie with a damp paper towel, and it'll stay for a long time. I've rolled the piece that I did take off in the Ultimate Clay Machine on the first setting. Okay. And it's about 1/8 of an inch thick if you're hand rolling, but this makes it easier because it's non-stick. So I'm going to move that aside, and once I've got my clay rolled, I wanted to stamp this nifty sea turtle image from Judykin's Hawaiian Cube. And I could use an ink pad, but I love the effect of paint stamping because it almost gives me a hand-painted feel.
It does.
Instead of looking rubber stamped, it almost looks hand-painted. So to do that, I'm using my Deco Art Americana multi-surface satin, and I'm back to my inchworm color, which I just love. It's tropical, but it has such a cute name. And I'm going to apply it with a paintbrush directly to my stamp, just a fine paintbrush. You could use your fingertip. I've been known to do that too, but because this stamp has a little bit of a smaller pattern.
Well, it's nice too because it's a thicker edge. You don't have a lot of fine lines that you have to go over. Yeah. So it does make it easier to paint.
So I just cover all of those areas.
Perfect.
And then I'm going to stamp right in, and I am putting a little pressure because I want to transfer the paint, but I also do want to make an impression in the clay of my turtle. So once we've got our turtle on our clay, we needed to cut him out, and I'm using the round from the crinkle set of cutters, the clay cutters from Macon's Clay, and I'm just placing it around the turtle, and he fits perfectly, whoops, when you hold him straight. And we'll remove our excess clay. And then we have our little turtle in our little disc. But we need a hole so we can make it a bead. You can use a toothpick or any little fine piece to make a hole in the top of your bead. And then I wanted to add a bit more color to him. I let the green paint dry, and then I went ahead in with this deep turquoise, which is another one of my absolute favorite colors. You know I'm a teal turquoise kind of girl. Gee, do I like this color? And I sponged it, just took a little bit and just sponged around the edges. Come on, get a little more on there. There we go. That's better. And I actually did the back too, because that way if it spins around, I covered the entire back too. Oh, and it kind of looks like water. So that it kind of looks like water, but if it turns around, it's not just a white disc. It's still got a little bit of pretty on it, as I call it. And because I wanted our sea turtle to look wet, and I wanted to seal it, my Judikins Diamond Glaze, which is my favorite medium to add shine, and it's also adhesive, which I love. I just covered the entire piece, and I put on a good amount, and I used my finger to spread it. Wow, it doesn't make it look like glass. And it looks like glass, and it makes him look like he's underwater. Oh, true. Because it will shine glossy. Yeah, it's going to shine. Glossy. It's going to dry glossy, and it gives that feel like my turtle is swimming. And then when this was dry, I flipped it and I did the backside also. So that's the second charm. We have one more piece that we'll show you next. Now, Cindy, you're going to show us how to make our last charm? Yes, the last piece of our Escape to Paradise necklace. I'm mixing Macon's Clay, white, and a little bit of this peach from the Earth Tone set, because I'm going to make seashell, and I want it to be kind of a varied effect instead of a solid color. I don't want to mix it completely. Oh, because you want that little I want that variation in tones, so that it's almost a marbleized effect. Like a real seashell. Yeah, so it's sort of like a real seashell. And you could mix any of these colors from the Earth Tones to do it, but I kind of like this pinky peach one for what I'm doing now. And I'm going to put the rest of this clay in a Ziploc, and then I'm using the Macon Seashell push mold. And I chose this shell to make this piece because it's good and chunky. Now you can either push the clay right into the mold like this, and then lift it out and trim around your image. But it trims really easy. It does. It trims with a craft knife or scissors, wet or dry, when it's fresh or when it's dry. But because the molds are clear and flexible, I actually think it's easier, because you don't have to go back and trim afterwards, to keep it. Well, because it is a chunkier one, that's a little easier to do it that way. Well, any of them really, because they're flexible, and you can remove any excess clay and just push. You can see that you're in your margins on both sides. And even these smaller flat ones, it works the same way, because the mold is flexible. It pops right out. And you're pulling it right out. You're not letting it dry. You do not have to let the clay dry. It'll so you can keep making multiples of these, etc. And that way I don't have to trim it. All I do is take my fingers and smooth any of those rough edges. Or if it dried, you could use a little emery board and sand it off. And then again, I took a toothpick and I made a hole through the center of the top of the seashell. And I added a jump ring once it was dry. It'll be fully dry in 24 hours, depending upon your atmospheric conditions. It's sometimes less than that. Your atmospheric, now I'm the weather girl. And because again I have to have my luster, I used Deco Arts metallic luster in this beautiful champagne ice. Ooh, and it's a very subtle color. And I just place it on my fingertip. Now, did you wait till it dried? You can apply the metallic lusters wet or dry. Oh, when the clay is fresh or when the clay is dry, it doesn't matter. Oh, that really is amazing. And it highlights the beautiful details that you get in a Macon's push mold. And I did wait till the shell was dry to put the jump ring on, etc. And then we just attached our pieces. I staggered their placement. I put the sea turtle in the center, and then I went up, think about an inch from that. I attached my message in a bottle, and then about a ½ inch my seashell, so that they would hang in a bit of a staggered manner on the chain that I added them to. And it's my little escape to a tropical destination necklace.
And it's really a fun gift to give to somebody this summer too.
It would be fun for a summer wardrobe. Or
thanks, Cindy, for doing such a great project again for us.
We sure hope you've enjoyed When Creativity Knocks All-Star Designer Summer Series. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and pin us on Pinterest.
And sign up on our website to receive our weekly newsletter and be eligible to receive one of our weekly prize packages full of products from all of our series sponsors.